Alrighty guys, so I officially just came back from Comic-Con. If you haven't checked out that vlog, make sure to check out the top right corner over there in that info card to go check out that vlog. But we are finally back from Comic-Con, and while I was out, I did get a package in the mail that I'm very excited to open up and start using. And I know I literally just upgraded last year to the Samsung Galaxy S24 Ultra. Originally my dad got it in the beginning of the year, and then I upgraded to the S24 Ultra pretty much towards the mid of last year, and I've thoroughly been enjoying the S24 Ultra. I feel like the S24 Ultra is kind of the peak Samsung smartphone right now. Even though that the S25 Ultra came out, it felt like it was just a very similar phone to the S24 Ultra. It was just like a different body design, but I feel like in terms of specs, you're not really gaining that much more with the S25 Ultra. So I feel like when it comes to Samsung and their bar smartphones, I feel like they've just kind of hit this peak where like there isn't really like a whole lot that they can upgrade unless like there's some new stuff with cameras. But there has been so many improvements to foldable phones, which I feel like not a lot of people have been talking about, especially within the past few years. And personally for me, I have always been interested in foldable phones, especially when Samsung announced the Galaxy Fold back in 2019. For those that do remember, I actually had a clip of the Galaxy Fold in my very first short film that I released on my channel, which was 2020 A New Beginning. There was a particular shot where I had a little bit of the Galaxy Fold in it just because I was very interested in the new technology, and I felt like 2020 was going to be a big year for a leap in technological improvements, and seeing things like the Galaxy Fold was something that I was very interested in. But especially at that time, one, the Galaxy Fold was just way too expensive for me. I couldn't afford it at that time, and two, there was just a lot of issues still with foldables, especially when it comes to the crease, air sockets in between the phone when you close it, and especially just hinge issues. And also like the screen on the cover was just very small and just like you're not really going to be using it. Like if you're buying a Fold, you're just mainly going to be using the inner display. You're not really using that cover screen. And then obviously they had improvements going from like that to the Fold 4, 5, and then the 6. And honestly, I was pretty interested in the 6, but it felt a little chunky, and it just didn't feel like it was there yet. But especially within the past few months, I've been doing a lot more research on foldable phones, and I just started to like see a lot of hype, especially for the Galaxy Fold 7, and just seeing what a lot of people had to say, where it's going to be incredibly thin. It's going to actually have a usable front-facing display, since a lot of the other displays are either just way too tiny or just way too narrow, and it just doesn't feel like a regular phone. But now with the Fold 7, it feels like an actual normal phone when closed, and then when you open it, it is like a mini tablet. So just seeing a lot of the rumors and a lot of the specifications that people were talking about, and now that it's getting the ultra camera from the S24 and the S25 with a 200 megapixel camera, makes it a lot more usable and something that I would actually want to daily drive. And especially when Samsung announced the Galaxy Z Fold 7 pretty much early July, I was very excited, just being able to see how thin it is, also some of the new colors which look really cool, and just like the practicality of it. I feel like it's finally here, and I feel like if you really wanted to get into foldable phones, I feel like this is the year to get it, just because the upgrades feel like they are pretty significant. So pretty much I finally decided to put the pre-order for the Galaxy Fold 7 pretty much as soon as it was announced. So I am going to be trading in my S24 Ultra for the Galaxy Z Fold 7, and pretty much I am going to be driving my first foldable phone, which I'm very excited. So in today's video, we're going to be taking a closer look at the Samsung Galaxy Z Fold 7, doing a quick unboxing, and of course just doing a quick initial review of my thoughts on the Z Fold 7. Is it worth the price tag? Is it worth for you to trade in your phone to get? And what kind of improvements can we expect in the future for foldable phones? Let's get to it. So we are officially back here in the studio. Today we are in fact talking about the Samsung Galaxy Z Fold 7, but in fact I actually forgot to mention that we did actually get two packages from Samsung, because not only did we get the Galaxy Z Fold 7, but we are also upgrading my Galaxy Watch. They also announced the Galaxy Z Flip 7, which is the newer model from the Flip 6, and pretty much the biggest change really is just that cover screen. And then there is the Flip 7 FE, which is pretty much the Galaxy Flip 6. Galaxy also announced the new watches, so we have the Galaxy Watch 8 Classic and the Galaxy Watch 8. And personally for me, I've always been a huge fan of the classic line of watches. You have the Galaxy Watch 6 Classic, which I will indeed be trading in for my Watch 8 that I just got. So first up, we'll start with the Watch 8 Classic. Now obviously this video, I am going to gear it more towards the Fold 7, so pretty much obviously I'm just doing the unboxing experience for the Watch 8 Classic if you guys are planning to pick it up. But of course this video is geared more for the Fold 7, and here we have it. I do believe that they do have both either the Bluetooth version and the Bluetooth plus LTE. Personally, I don't really use the LTE since I don't get an extra phone line for my watch. I just don't find it necessary. Also, I will say, I think the main reason why I wanted to upgrade to the Galaxy Watch 8 Watch Classic is because there is a new feature on the watch where it actually has an antioxidant reader on the back. So pretty much you just put your thumb on the back of the device and it can kind of just tell you like your water intake, or are you taking enough nutrients, things like that. So I don't know how well it is. I've heard some people are saying it's just kind of like a gimmick. Others saying that you can get some pretty decent results. So I don't know, I'll have to do some tests and I'll probably share you guys some of my feedback in this video itself. But again, I don't want to take too much time on the Watch Classic because obviously I want to make this video more about the Fold 7. There we go. Classic, taking it out of the box, and ooh, this looks nice. So I did opt in for the all white option. So pretty much when it comes to the color of the Galaxy Watch 8 Classic, pretty much it is a silver outside framing. But the one color that you can actually change is the color of the bezel. So pretty much where it has the markers and the 10, 50, 30, 20, 40, you can actually either have that in black or you can have that in white. So I kind of decided to go for the white option. I thought it looked pretty interesting, kind of unique. There's not a lot of smartwatches that have like a white bezel inside of it, so I thought it was kind of a cool look. And then inside we have our band that we chose, and I did choose the mint color band. I thought it looked really cool. I like the color of it. And also I'm just a huge fan of the fabric brands, especially since the band that I initially got for my Apple Watch Ultra was the fabric brand. So we just have a little bit of an instruction manual, and then of course here we have the band itself. And I will say I do thoroughly enjoy the mint color. So there we go, got it on the wrist, and I will say the fabric band actually feels really, really nice. I feel like it's actually probably more comfortable than the fabric band you get with the Apple Watch Ultra. So guys, I quickly took off the Watch 8 Classic and I put it for charging. So obviously we'll get back to the Watch 8 Classic once it's done charging, so that way we can properly transfer it to the Watch 6 Classic. But while it's charging, let us get into the main event and the main unboxing, which is in fact the phone that I've been waiting for a long time. Let us take it open. And here we have it, the Galaxy Z Fold 7. So without further ado, let's get into the Fold 7. The official lift of the Fold 7 box. First impressions is that this is my first time seeing the blue shadow color in person, and this just might be my favorite color I've ever seen from Samsung. Like, I've seen a lot of different colors on smartphones, but this blue shadow is something else. So first time taking the phone out of the box. And I already know that it has the protector on the bottom of it, and it also has the protector on the cover screen. I know everyone talks about how thin this thing is. Like, you literally can't even tell how thin it is on camera. Like, it's just, like, it feels like paper thin. But yeah, the biggest thing for me is just like how lightweight it is. One of the first things that I want to do is I want to put a screen protector on that cover screen, which obviously I already went ahead and ordered. So we do have the Spigen screen protector. This is a nice tempered glass one for the cover display. Oh, there we go. Nice and neat. And of course, since we haven't folded this phone yet, there is pretty much a zero crease on that inner display. Literally impossible to see any sort of crease. Of course, the crease is going to become more noticeable the more folds that you do with it. But of course, talking about the phone itself, let's talk a little bit more about the specs. So obviously we have that 8-inch inner display. We do have a 6.4 or 6.5 outer display. Again, obviously it is at 21:9 aspect ratio. Overall, again, this phone is incredibly thin. I believe it's 4.2 millimeters when it's unfolded. When you fold it, I believe it's 8.9 millimeters. So again, very, very slim device. Even when you fold it, it's like relatively the same size as like an S25 Ultra or an S24 Ultra. So practically the same size as a regular phone when you fold it. It does have the Snapdragon Gen 8 Elite chip inside of it for Galaxy. So obviously pinnacle performance from Qualcomm from the Snapdragon processor. It does have a 4400 mAh battery, which I do believe is technically smaller than my S24 Ultra, but I have heard that the battery life has been well optimized for the Fold phones. But of course, the biggest thing that people have complained about the Fold 7 in general is the lack of S Pen support. Personally for me, I genuinely don't care if the phone has S Pen support or not. Now I will say, since this is my first foldable phone, because there is a lot more real estate on the inner display, I could see myself wanting to take notes on the Fold 7. I'm kind of nervous about it because I've seen people like kind of rub their fingernail on the screen, and it's actually very easy to scratch the inner display, especially the inner screen protector. Now the Fold 6 did have a under display camera, which I thought was really cool, and I was hoping it would make its way into the Fold 7. but the under display camera really kind of lowers that quality, and also the Fold 6 was only a 4 megapixel inner camera, whereas now with the Fold 7 you have an inner 10 megapixel camera. I believe it's the exact same camera as the one on the outer display as well, so whether you're working inside the device or on the cover display, you're gonna get the same selfie camera regardless. And of course, talking about the cameras on the back of the Fold 7, we are obviously getting a massive upgrade from the Fold 6, where now our main camera on the Fold 7 does have a 200 megapixel primary camera. We do have a 12 megapixel ultra wide camera, and we do have a 10 megapixel telephoto. Now personally for me, I feel like that is one of the only things that I'm kind of skeptical upgrading from the S24 Ultra to the Fold 7, because obviously I do know that the telephoto camera on the S24 is quite a lot better compared to the telephoto on the Fold 7. And obviously we do have that new armor flex hinge. When we close the phone, yeah, this thing just feels like a regular phone. And even just when I'm holding it like this, I'm honestly not mad at the screen size. I know some people are saying that they wish it was a bit wider and a bit taller, and obviously I kind of agree with that. I do wish it was a little bit wider and taller, but again, like, this feels fine in and of itself. Just kind of typing with 2 fingers, or if you're typing with one hand, like, it's super easy to get one from one side of the phone to the other side. All right, so I'm gonna quickly install the screen protector, and I'll get back to you guys when we have it, and then we'll also try out the case as well and see how everything feels. So guys, it is currently 2 o'clock in the morning. Literally, I've been spending like the past couple hours just making sure that I have transferred everything from my Galaxy S24 Ultra to the Galaxy Fold 7. And I can confidently say I have finally transferred pretty much everything from my current device to the new Z Fold 7. And so far my experience with it has been really nice. So far I've been like trying to get pretty used to just the cover display. Obviously it's a lot, it's a lot more narrow compared to the S24 Ultra, but it's not that much more narrow. It is just, it's obviously thinner, so it's not like as wide in terms of typing. So it's a little bit just need to get adjusted to, but it's not too bad at the end of the day. But again, obviously when you open it up, you just get so much more real estate. But also I was able to completely set up the Galaxy Watch 8 Classic. So now everything from my Watch 6 Classic has moved to the Watch 8 Classic. The Watch 8 Classic definitely has a lot of UI improvements from the software. I want to pretty much put the phone inside the speaking case that we got. Obviously I really wanted to see how it fits and just the overall usability. Yeah, so this is how it looks with the case. Again, blue shadow with the metal slate colorway of the Tough Armor Pro case. And again, that new hinge design for the speaking case I think is pretty durable. And yeah, I think that definitely gives me some pretty solid protection for the Z Fold 7. And even when it comes to opening, I think it makes it a lot easier to open up the device with the case. So we will continue this either tomorrow or within the next few days, definitely within a week. And I will catch you guys up with my experience using the Galaxy Z Fold 7. And I'll give you guys some updates to the Watch 8 Classic and kind of just let you guys know my overall thoughts on it. So I'll catch you guys then. So guys, it's been a few days since I've had my hands on the Galaxy Z Fold 7, and really just taking the time to use the Z Fold 7. Honestly, it just changes a lot of the ways how I use a phone nowadays, especially just like multitasking and productivity. I feel like I'm actually able to like utilize like many different applications at the same time. And also there's just like a lot of apps, especially that are optimized for foldable devices, that just makes it feel like a more desktop-like experience. And personally for me, especially with the Fold 7 being my first foldable device, there is one feature request that I really want Samsung to add into foldable devices. So if anyone from the Samsung team or anyone who works on One UI or just the software development side on Samsung is watching this video, there is one thing that I really want within foldable devices, especially with the Galaxy Z Fold 7 and of course just folds coming out in the future, is I wish we could have different navigation modes depending on what type of screen that we're using. So personally for me, when it comes to bar type phones, I really like having the 3-button layout as my navigation bar. Just having the home button, the the different tabs button, and then the back button all at the bottom. I really like using that on just like a bar style phone. But when it comes to something like the unfolded experience or even like an iPad or something like that, I do like the swipe gesture mode. It's obviously a lot easier and it obviously gives you a lot more room as well at the bottom. So personally for me, I wish we could kind of have that experience where we can kind of choose if we want the bar style type navigation on the cover display and the gestures on the inside, or vice versa, depending on how you like to use your device. So really with that, that's probably the biggest differences that I've seen kind of transitioning from a bar style phone to a foldable phone. Obviously there is a slight learning curve, like even especially like the fingerprint display. Personally for me, I've been so used to the under display fingerprint sensor on the Galaxy S24 Ultra. Like, it's just so easy. I pick up my phone, I know exactly where the fingerprint sensor is with my thumb, I put it on, it automatically unlocks, I don't have to worry about it. So definitely with the Fold 7, it's not really that much more different because it still has a fingerprint sensor on the power button. So obviously, you know, I just kind of like have to get used to just knowing that I'm not supposed to put my thumb on the screen itself. I'm just supposed to put it on the power button. Getting into the back cameras is kind of the main thing that I really wanted to test, and also kind of the things that I'm a little bit bummed out by is because when it comes to taking photos, personally for me, seeing the quality and the results that I've been able to get out of the Fold 7, I'm probably just going to be sticking to my iPhone 15 Pro Max. Even with the 200 megapixel sensor from the Fold 7, it just still doesn't look that great. The ultra wide camera, I would say, with the 12 megapixel is actually pretty decent. So I feel like, again, taking selfies on the Fold 7 with that back camera ultra wide, I think is probably the move. I will say, even comparing photos from my S24 Ultra to the Fold 7, I think the software is better optimized on the S24 Ultra than the Fold 7. So maybe with some firmware updates to the Fold 7, hopefully with the camera, hopefully the processing of that camera will be a lot better. But I actually was genuinely impressed by the video quality on the Galaxy Z Fold 7, especially recording in the Pro Video mode, because not only can you shoot in 24 frames per second, which is generally how I shoot my videos, but you can also shoot in LAW, which is really, really cool. I know the S24 Ultra also has LAW capabilities. I never really shot that much video on my S24 Ultra, but especially having the Fold 7, I thought it was the perfect time to really test out the LAW capabilities. And since I'm able to record both 4K 24 and 8K 24 on the Galaxy Z Fold 7, I wanted to test it out. I'm not sure if the camera itself has IBIS or if it's just the digital image stabilization built into the application, but it is crazy smooth. Like, literally, like, you do not need a gimbal with this phone. So if you're someone who takes a lot of videos on your smartphone and, you know, you're the type of person who like has a smartphone gimbal that you usually attach your camera to, legitimately, I guarantee you will not need to use a gimbal on this phone. Like, it is extremely smooth. And also a quick thing with the device is also when it comes to the speaker quality, like, I have heard some people saying that the speakers aren't really that great. And also I will say, if you are watching content on the phone unfolded and you are holding it on the sides like this, you are actually kind of covering the speakers, because the speakers are actually right here and here on like the bottom side of how you would typically watch content in the unfolded state. So, you know, you could potentially be blocking the speaker ports. But I will say, if you leave enough room, if you're holding your phone like this, or like, you know, you leave enough room for the speakers itself, or if you're just watching it in its folded state, you know, whatever it is, the speaker quality sounds good enough. Now, one of the last two things I want to talk about the Fold 7 is something that is, again, another controversy besides the S Pen, which comes down to battery life. Now, the thing about the Fold 7 is that, yes, it does have a smaller milliamp hour compared to the S series devices. I know my S24 Ultra, I do think it has close to 5,000 milliamps, if not higher than 5,000 milliamps, whereas the Z Fold 7 has 4,400 milliamps, which is the exact same as the Galaxy Z Fold 6. But obviously a lot of people have been talking about how impressive it is to have the exact same battery in a much thinner device, again, a 26% thinner device compared to the Fold 7. So it is really cool that we are getting the same amount of battery life in the Fold 7 than the Fold 6. But personally for me, using the phone for the past few days, like, I generally haven't seen like any battery issues. Like, it's still able to get me throughout the entire day, both in the folded state and the unfolded state. But even when it comes to playing games, I actually just genuinely enjoy the experience on the Z Fold 7. Like, one of the games that I always play on my mobile device is Dragon Ball Legends, and you just get so much more real estate to just like see different things and just get to really experience the whole background. And of course, having the Snapdragon 8 Elite chip for Galaxy in the Z Fold 7 has been really good. And honestly, that might be the reason why the battery optimization has been a lot better on the Z Fold 7 compared to something like my S24 Ultra. So it could be the new processor that might be the reason why it just is much more snappier and it just optimizes the battery a lot better. So definitely with the newer processor in the Galaxy Z Fold 7, definitely does a really good job, and I'm very happy with the performance. I have heard rumors that Samsung might plan to completely go away from Qualcomm and the Snapdragon line of processors back to Exynos series. And I know with the Galaxy Z Flip 7 and the Z Flip 7 FE, I believe that they are Exynos chips inside of them. And last little thing, catching up on the Watch 8 Classic, since obviously I told you guys I'll give an update on the watch itself. And personally for me, the battery life has been phenomenal so far, so much better compared to my Watch 3 and my Watch 6. And I will say, especially if you are someone who is considering getting the Watch 8 Classic or even the Galaxy Watch Ultra, I know they just announced a new one in the Galaxy Unpacked event. So they have the Watch Ultra, the 2025 edition, and they have the Watch 8 Classic. And honestly, I might just recommend you guys just to get the Watch 8 Classic, because comparing what the Watch Ultra does to the Watch 8 Classic, like, you're spending a lot more money on the Ultra for like very minor things. And I've seen some other people do reviews on the Watch 8 Classic talking about the new antioxidant feature. And so far, a lot of people are saying that it's just kind of like a gimmick feature. Like, it's not really that accurate, or, you know, it just like doesn't change or whatever. So I don't know, like, maybe throughout time, maybe the antioxidant reader will be a lot more accurate and it'll get better. Maybe it just needs time to kind of like learn, you know, your system and stuff. If you are someone with an older watch, or if you've been wanting to get into smartwatches and you're looking at the Galaxy Watch 8 Classic, I think right now is a great time to get it. I feel like it just looks really, really good. I feel like the usability is a lot better, especially with the new One UI for the Galaxy Watch series. I think it's so much better in terms of just customizing and operability. I think it just works a lot better. That is going to do it for us on this video talking about the Galaxy Z Fold 7 and the Watch 8 Classic. So make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe, and I will catch you guys on the next video. Take it easy. Peace.